Welcome to the Four Brewers podcast. My name is John Holzer, and as always, I am joined by
Jason Harris.
And Tim might be joining us a little later on. He's running a little late for this episode, and if he doesn't show up, then that's a bummer. So we're just going to throw that out there. We are drinking beers from Other Half Brewing Company out of Brooklyn, New York. This isn't their first time on the show, but we had an opportunity to pick up some of their beers online like 2 weeks ago, I think. They released a 4-pack of like a double dry hopped thing they did. That was the theme of the 4-pack. And that's what we're drinking today, which I'm pretty stoked about. Other Half is, they need no introduction, really. I mean, they're one of the kings of hazy IPA. Other Half's the brewery that taught Monkish how to make hazies, right?
That's I think what people say, that, yeah, like Henry went over to Other Half and did some collabs with them. And then it was like, then all of a sudden Monkish became the West Coast Hazy Kings. So yeah, I feel like they dispute that. Like Monkish disputes that.
Well, I believe, wasn't their first, Monkish's first release with Other Half? I want to say
I think it may have been. We
had it on the show. I should have looked it up, but yeah, and it's not that they taught Henry how to make hazy IPA. Like the dude knows how to make beer, but I think it's more back then. Henry, Monkish didn't make IPA. They had a sign up in their brewery that said no IPA. Like they were strictly against it. It was all about the Belgian beers. And when they decided to do it, I think Henry just wanted to make sure he was doing it correctly, quote unquote, like as far as what I think he thought was correctly. I think he may have tried Other Half beers and said, I like this, I want to emulate this. And then, as we all know now, Monkish hazies are their own thing. But Other Half, I think, played a big role in, helping Monkish become what they are now, which is pretty awesome because Monkish is one of the most well-known IPA brewers on the West Coast, which is
absolutely
just funny and weird. And they still make great Belgian stuff too. Like he didn't give that up. It's just it doesn't sell nearly as well as the hype stuff does. So.
And so the last time we had Other Half that we did like a big Other Half show was back in 2018. And it was a fan of the show, Matt Livingston, sent us a box of Other Half and Foley Brothers beers. Okay, so retroactive thanks to Matt Livingston for sending us those beers a couple years back.
Show.
And then, the Monkish collab was the First Things First beer. And we did that one on the show back in April 2016.
That was a collab though, right?
Collab with Other Half. And it was the 4B Flight. Remember we did a bunch of single beer shows?
Yeah, that was fun. That's when we would you'd get together and do an episode, and then we'd do a whole session, and then after a session we would record like 10-minute episodes just for like the feed in an effort to just kind of ramp up numbers and keep us up in the algorithm with iTunes, which works pretty well, but it's kind of hard to pull off because it's a lot of beers you got to drink. So
yeah, it would actually be probably a little easier to do in this format where we don't have to drive home.
Well, yeah, and you could just do it every day and, get online for 10, 15 minutes, drink a beer, and then, take about an hour to edit and you're good to go. So, if you do want to do that, Jason, I'm down to do that.
Sounds like a lot of work.
All you have to do is drink beer and get on the internet, so it's not that big of a deal.
Fuck, that's what I already do.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to kick things off with a beer called Forever Ever. This is a 4.7% ABV. They're calling it a session beer. I guess you can call it a session. It's in the fours. And again, the theme of this show and these cans are all double dry hopped. This one, I don't see any. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, it is on Untapped. It's made with Apollo, Azaka, Citra. Here's a hop I've never heard of. Jarrylo, Jarrylo.
Jario? Yeah. I've seen that hop name before, but I couldn't tell you about it.
Jario. Okay.
Does Untapped have notes about them? Because I have the Tavor notes, which are usually pretty good.
Untapped does not. All they do is list the hops.
Yeah. Although they just pretty much put a bunch of flavor text around the list of the hops. Forever Ever. According to this, though, it says Amarillo, Mosaic, Azaka, and Citra.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know what this. Yeah, this J hop is.
Jario?
Yeah,
I've seen that hop before, but
okay.
Yeah, according to this, it says it was dry hopped with Azaka and super concentrated Citra Mosaic lupulin powder.
Okay. And yeah, we did get these through Tavor, although it should be said, Other Half does have limited distribution in Southern California now, which is
do they?
Which is dope. I've seen them at La Bodega more than a couple times, and they get their, they're not one of those places that finds beer that fell off a truck and they sell it kind of thing.
Yeah, that's true.
They're legit, and they go through like legitimate distribution sources. So yeah, they have Other Half stuff.
I think an interesting thing with Other Half is in their can art, they don't feature their own branding prominently at all. So like the Other Half brand name is in like a small white font in the bottom corner, like it's the text at the end of a music video on MTV. Yeah. But like the branding for each beer is much more prominent than it's way better.
Yeah, it's all about the artwork when it comes to Other Half, which I think what they're most well known for is like if you're in the live stream, you can see the third can on the right. It's a repeating pattern of hops. And that's what I think of when I think of Other Half and their artwork. It's a repeating pattern of some kind of glyph or piece of like artwork that looks kind of like clip art, and it really makes them stand out.
So yeah, I'm trying to pry this and see if there's anything interesting, but you don't see a lot of session ABV hazy beers like. As from the big producers, at least. I know Stone did one and whatever, but like the prominent breweries don't do a lot of hazy IPAs that are 4.7%. That's kind of uncommon.
Yeah, it's more of a pale ale, right? And I think what's more uncommon is that it's a pale ale that's double dry hopped. That's what I think you don't really see a lot is a double dry hopped pale ale, which this is. So it's probably more on the bitter side when comparing it to pale ale that we would think of like Sierra Nevada. But yeah.
So the beer is, a pretty freaking opaque yellow, kind of light yellow color.
That is a hazy IPA or a hazy pale ale. Definitely.
It has that look of being opaque without being murky. Like it still lets light through and isn't like absorbing the light around it, but it isn't clear in any way at all.
Yeah, it's got a certain amount of brilliance for a hazy IPA. Yeah. Like usually when you refer to brilliance in a beer, it's crystal clear. It looks like a light shining kind of thing. But hazies definitely have their own level of brilliance because as far as my scale goes, the ones that look bad to me look like silicone in a glass. Like it's just like I dread drinking those because I can already like sense the hop burn on the back of my throat. Right. Because it just seems like they're going to be so mineral heavy and just difficult to drink. But yeah, this is definitely Other Half. I think has nailed the look of their beers for sure.
And the aroma on this is huge. Like I'm getting a nice bright hop character, which I'm a little surprised by from a hazy beer.
I mean, it is double dry hopped, and when Other Half dry hops things, I mean, they're not messing around. I don't know what the quantities are for this double dry hopping, but they're going to make it count, I do get the same big nose off of this, just smelling it. minus anything you'd get from an IPA, like as far as like some kind of like an alcohol aroma or a booze aroma. It smells just like a heavily dry hopped IPA for sure. Like it's pretty big.
So I just tried the beer, and we joked before the show that all 4 of these beers are going to taste the same. And we've talked about on the show that Other Half has kind of a profile, the white cake batter thing we say a lot.
Right.
This beer is not that.
Nope.
This beer is kind of dank. It's got like a bite to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like it is very in the West Coast vein for a hazy beer, and this slaps for 4.7. Holy shit, this is good.
I mean, we were just talking about Henry and how he had Other Half over to his brewery to kind of help him figure out what he wanted to do, which, again, saying this again, monkish hazy IPAs are definitely a West Coast interpretation, and it seems like a lot of that has rubbed off on Other Half with this beer. This is definitely a West Coast version, still very creamy and silky smooth on the mouthfeel, but it does have a lingering bitterness that isn't acrid. It's not like attacking your palate or anything, but it does lack that white cake batter flavor and aroma. But the aroma is not there at all with the white cake batter, and that's usually the first thing I pick up from the East Coast hazies is that aroma. It's not there on the flavor either, but it's still silky smooth and like it's a hazy.
Would you guess this is a session beer though? Like no. I would not, dude. 4.7 is low even for a pale ale, and like this is just a full-bodied beer. It's got huge hop flavor. Like this is one of the best under 5% IPAs I've ever had.
You'd think too, with it being 4.7 and hazy, that it'd have like a overwhelming amount of residual sweetness, and it does not. It finishes fairly dry, but like still with some body left over and some flavor and like some mouthfeel.
And I think there's still a little bit of it does leave a little bit of a bitter bite on your palate. It does hang out there a bit, but man, this is just a fucking success of a beer. I'm really impressed.
Yeah, same. I mean, to make a 4.7% interpretation of a hazy that tastes like a hazy, smells like a hazy, and drinks like a hazy, that's the dream, right? As far as like hazy IPA drinkers go. I mean, not all of them. There's a lot of people out there that chase the higher alcohol double IPAs and whatnot, but you get that same effect with a beer that's only 4.7%.
And it also doesn't have the pitfalls that we run into with hazy IPA, right? Like we've been in these shows where we're just like, fuck, here we go again. It's the same fucking beer. And this is not. This is, goddamn, this is really good. I like already poured the rest of the can into my glass. I'm going to finish this fucker. I
mean, as it sits on my palate longer, I do get that malt flavor coming through as well. It's if anything, it has just a hint of like a biscuity, like a sweet biscuit flavor, which is good. It's not the white cake batter, but it's enough to you can appreciate the hop flavor and the malt characteristics in this beer. It's not like a one note thing. That being said, can you really like pick out what flavors you're getting from the hops on this, or is it more of that hop smear thing for you?
I wouldn't say it's in that hop smear vein because I feel like the edges haven't been rubbed off the hops. The hops are still bright.
Because there's of the bitterness?
There's a lot of hops in here, so it's hard to pick out any individual one, which I would say is probably the same for any beer with a lot of hops, right? Like when I have a Swami's, I'm not like, ooh, Citra. Like,
that's true, yeah.
But it's got a really bright hop character, and I think this beer does it manages to hit the hazy notes but be bright. In fact, I don't know, I would like to talk to somebody who prefers stuff on the sweeter, hazier side. This may be on the bitter end for them.
I think so too. And you brought up Swami's, and I kind of agree with you on that, because when I drink Swami's, it's definitely more of a bitter punch than this is. And you can't really break those hops down either. Pizza Port just came out with Secret Swami's for Christmas. I think this is the first time they've done it. And
I'm driving to San Diego tomorrow, by the way.
Yeah, Joe Senegalia, who's been on the show before from Jow's Arcade, he works down the street from their Bressy Ranch location, and he picked up a 6-pack that was 1 day old, and it's already up on his YouTube channel if you want to check it out. But not to spoil anything,
Joe gave us a lot of love in that video, and thank you for that, Joe. He shouted us out a bunch, and so appreciate it, man.
He's got a lot of loyal subs on YouTube that come our way when he does that, so it's very much appreciated. But yeah,
all 4 of our listeners, check out Joe's Arcade.
But he kind of described it the same way, where it's like, wow, this is fantastic, but I can't really break down the hops. And it's kind of the same thing with these hazies and this beer from Other Half. You can't really diagnose what's happening with the different flavors and whatnot on the aroma and flavor with the hops. It's just that they I don't know, combine together to make an overall tasty experience. And generally speaking, yes, it's more on the dank side of things, but not like super danky like you'd get from like a pizza port, double IPA.
Or like a stone beer, right?
Yeah. Definitely not. Fantastic beer though. Yeah. I mean, that's
a fucking win. That was a home run out of the gate. Like I feel like the other beers have a lot to live up to after getting that out of a session. And spoilers, I did try one of the beers. I won't say which one, and it was not as good as that one. So
I've already tried all 4. So like I had doubles. I invited Joe on the show, and he had to work this weekend. But I said, hey, I got doubles of these beers if you want me to ship them down to you. And he's like, no, I got to work. So I already drank them, but I don't remember anything about them. I just drank them casually while playing video games and stuff. So.
Yeah, I drank all 4 of them in 20 minutes. So wait, actually, that's what we do on this show. So never mind. I'm not going to talk shit. All right, what's on deck, my dude?
Up next is a beer called O Dream. This is the double dry hopped variant. This is 6.2%. And they call this an oat cream IPA crushed with Galaxy, Citra, and Motueka. And it's smoothed out with oats and lactose sugar. Okay, that's a red flag. I trust Other Half, but lactose sugar.
Cream. They also, I mean, you said an oat cream India IPA. I'm skeptical on that.
Well, here we go.
Oh, dream. That's how I read that. It's O ... dream.
Yeah.
So,
pause.
Dream.
Where do you stand with lactose and IPAs in general?
I don't like lactose in beer, period. I don't like it in fucking stouts. I don't like it in anything. So We'll see how this goes. I'm
indifferent. Some breweries pull it off. If you're going for like a milkshake style IPA, that's not a style I drink a lot of because it's so packed full of calories. But generally speaking, lactose is a good thing to use to give you that, sweet edge that's not going to get fermented out. But in regular IPA, I don't
know. So pouring this, it looks. I mean, I guess it looks pretty similar to the last one because I still have some of the last one in the glass. To me, it looks a bit more milky.
Yeah, definitely. Most definitely.
But very light in color. I mean, I think by design, it's more milky. Again, we're seeing it's an oat cream something or other.
Yeah. And I will say, too, on the previous beer, Forever Ever, the head retention on that beer was fantastic and nice, tightly knit, small bubbles. This is the same way. And head retention over the years, you might think it's not that big of a deal. It just makes a beer look so much more appealing. And this
it does, yeah.
Yeah, the oat cream IPA, it looks, you would expect to see a creamy head, right? Because if it didn't have a creamy head, you're like, what's happening? Why does this not have head? What's killing the head retention on this? Is it some kind of acidic thing, or something went wrong with the beer, or is it undercarbonated? But no, it's got a nice, creamy, fluffy head, which looks nice.
Mine has fallen off pretty quick, but there is still like a little ring of bubbles lingering on mine. So the description on Tavour says it's like the upgraded version of your aunt's holiday fruitcake.
Uh-oh. Upgraded fruitcake.
It rivals smooth gelato in thickness All right.
Have you had gelato? I don't think I've ever had gelato.
Yeah, it's like ice cream with like a slightly different texture because it's custard or whatever,
So it's more
isn't
like
it?
pudding or something. Like
It's
it's
still
like iced
it's just,
pudding.
it's like denser, I think, kind of. Yeah.
Okay. This
Um,
smells like dessert. I'll give them that. Like
it
it smells
smells
like
very sweet.
yeah, it smells like a fruity dessert. Like um like a treat, I'd say. I would not want to buy a 4-pack of this and crush it after coming home from work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. This is not that kind of beer.
And it's supposed to have Galaxy, Citra, and Motueka. Um, again,
Hmm.
it's like strawberries and cream is what the nose is to me.
Right.
Like
That's yes, strawberries and cream. That pretty much nails it. Kind of like cake. Again, not white
um,
cake batter. You don't get the white cake batter thing again, but it's more like a cakey strawberry thing.
you know what it reminds me of? Did you ever have the instant Quaker oatmeal that had the little strawberries in it? Which,
Oh
fun
hell yes, I
fact, are
did.
just apples that are dyed red.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. All the little fruit bits in the Quaker oats are just apples.
Oh my god, I
Fun
didn't know
fact.
that.
Yeah. That's what it smells like to me. Which I guess it's got massive amounts of oats. So
I guess that's what they're going for, right? Yeah, when you say Quaker oatmeal, you're talking like those, they were like the paper packets. It
yeah,
was enough for one serving, and you dump it in a bowl, add hot water, stir it, let it sit for, I don't know, a minute or two, and you've got oatmeal. And it
yeah.
does smell like that, definitely. Yeah.
Um, it tastes pretty good. It's like vaguely hoppy. There's a hop character there, but it's not distinct at all. The finish on my palate is very like sugar and cream, like a creamy sugar flavor is what's lingering. I mean, they're going for a creamy thing, and this is definitely a very creamy beer.
I will say on the mouthfeel, it's creamy, definitely. Fruit, it's a good amount of like fruit character from the hops. I am still getting a bitter back end though,
Yeah,
which
it does have enough of a bitter bite that like it doesn't linger cloyingly on your palate. The hops eventually kind of clean away the
yeah,
sweetness, so you get a little bitter. But for my taste, it's still on the sweet side. It's not as dramatically sweet as I thought it would be from the description, but just a bit sweet for me.
I'm comparing it to the Forever Ever, and yeah, even on the aroma, wow, that strawberry character comes through a lot. That like it's like blueberry strawberry on the nose. I think these both have the same amount of bitterness, though. It's just that the O Dream,
The has a
the
lot more sweet.
yeah, and so it kind of fights off the bitterness from the hops a little more. But I like the bitterness on this beer. I mean, they're going for like a dessert beer, and maybe some people will be turned off by that level of bitterness from the hops. But for me, I think it's fine. I think it's a good balance.
As someone who hates dessert beer, this is probably about as in my wheelhouse as a dessert beer is going to get.
Yeah. Would you buy a 4-pack of it?
No.
Yeah.
No. But if I was like, had to have a dessert beer, this is the closest I can get to that zone and still be in the flavor profile I prefer.
I think it should also be said when we're being very general about these beers and not focusing on like minute details or flaws, it's because typically there's no flaws. If there are flaws in a beer that we could point out as far as like technical flaws, like I don't remember the last time we experienced diacetyl on this show. Like maybe it was 3 weeks ago. I think we had one beer that had a little bit of diacetyl on it, but as far as like heavy, you guys fucked up, this is bad diacetyl, there it's more prevalent in hazies than any other style, and I haven't had that in a long time with hazy IPAs. So you know, as far as flaws goes in these beers, it's safe to assume that they're above that level. They're not going to have flaws.
Yeah.
So we're just going
And
to.
in general, right? I think the craft beer world is maturing quite a bit, and it's getting harder and harder to get away with that kind of bullshit.
Yeah. This was a beer, I think, we put these in order from their level of alcohol by volume. This would be best saved for the last beer of the show because it's a dessert beer. It's not bad, but it's what they say it is. I mean,
I think they nailed what they're going for. I just don't think what they're going for is a profile that I like.
I can agree with that.
All right, where are we at next?
Up next, we're drinking yet another double dry hopped beer from Other Half. This is their double dry hopped True Green. Let's see. This is 7.9% alcohol by volume. And this is made with Citra, Motueka, and Mandarin hops. Mandarina Bavaria. I'm sorry. Oh, wait. Citra, Motueka, Mandarina Bavaria, and Coatu hops.
Let's see if the Tavor matches that. Yeah, it does. Coatu. Cool. That one I haven't heard of. Coatu and Motu is what
I think we've had Coatu on the show before.
No, because I feel like I would have made a bunch of Quado jokes, and I don't believe I've made Quado jokes on this show. Quado, for the uninitiated, Quado's that little monster baby that
Total
lives
Recall,
in that guy's chest, and in Total Recall.
Yeah.
Only 80s kids will get this.
Open your mind. Is that what he says, right?
Yeah. Fucking rules.
I got a reference. Look at me.
The movie's dope.
Open your mind. And he's all greasy, like he's got Vaseline smeared all over him.
Yeah, he shouldn't be oily. Like, even if he's like living in a guy's shirt, he shouldn't be oily. Like, they could wipe him down. He
needs like an AC system set up in there. It's like it's too humid inside the belly of whatever he's living in.
I'm gonna look up these hops because I'm really curious what they're about, what their deal is. Kohatu means stone or rock in Maori. Oh, fun times. It was released in 2011 alongside Waiti, which is uncommon, but a hop we've had.
Yeah, I've heard of that hop, definitely.
But and intense blah 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 blah. Aroma of tropical fruit, crushed pine needles. It's a low alpha. Oh, yeah, with low alpha, it's a pleasant rounded bitterness. So weird for a modern hop to have. It's only 6.8 alpha. But
that is pretty low for a lot of these major like heavy hitter hops these days.
Yeah. But yeah, the description is kind of generic. Sounds kind of like all hops. And that was from their whole thing. It says Motu. I'm pretty sure they mean Motueka because there's no such thing as a Motu hop.
Yeah, it's Motueka. Yeah.
Yeah.
We mentioned this earlier, how these beers might end up being samesies, and this kind of is kind of samey comparing it to Forever and Ever or Forever Ever. It's kind of similar.
To me, I'm getting much less nose off of this beer than I did off the Forever Ever. I'm getting more of that white sugar character on the nose than the hop character that I got off the other one.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah, definitely. But you still can't like pick out individual components of the nose, like any kind of fruit that stands out. Maybe it's more like stone fruity, like a soft fruit, like not peachy, but maybe tangerine. It's everything about their beer so far is softness on the nose as far as fruit flavor or fruit.
So when I see a beer name, like my expectation on True Green, and it's got nothing but like little hop binds on the label, right? Like, I'm thinking you're going to get a very earthy, danky, hoppy beer. Like, that is the flavor that I get to expect. What I'm getting is something with not a ton of hop flavor in general, I don't think. it's hoppy. Don't get me wrong. This is still an IPA. It's not like it's not hoppy, but comparatively, I'm not getting that big nose. That the bitterness is tuned way down in this beer compared to the last two.
I do get a little bit of an earth note on it, but it's still more of that white cake batter sweet aroma mixed in with a little bit of an earthiness from the hop. I mean, when I think dank, I want to smell like weed in a beer, and that's very West Coast of me to say that, because there's plenty of breweries that have pulled that off where it's like, wow, this smells like marijuana in a glass. And I get it. This is definitely a hazy. And you don't. I think that would be too conflicting, to have like a super big like chronic like THC smell in a beer, but also be like smelling sweet, and it doesn't make sense on paper. So I do get a tad of earthiness from this, but yeah, True Green. I don't. Yeah, it smells good though.
This is what, to be honest, this is the beer I was kind of worried about getting. Vaguely hoppy in a generic hoppy sense. The hop character is super muted. The beer is sweet and it kind of hangs sweet on your palate. It's not a bad beer. There's nothing wrong with this beer, but the flavor profile that they're choosing here just doesn't register well with me. It just like these are all extremely well made beers, but just the flavor of the Forever Ever was so much more in my wheelhouse than this beer. I mean, to be honest, this one just feels a little generic.
Does it feel flabby? It feels a little flabby to me. Like, not that it's undercarved or anything, but it feels like, I mean, it finishes fine, but it needs more definition with the hop character on the flavor, I think.
Yeah, like it could benefit so much from having just more character.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of mild. The note I see in the Tavor descriptor a bunch is smooth, and it is definitely smooth. But yeah, it just isn't grabbing me though, like I wish it would.
I mean, it's to the point with other half where all of their beers are going to be smooth, and I think smoothness, quote unquote, with IPAs can be taxing. Like, because they're smooth because they have a big mouthfeel. The bitterness to sweetness ratio is typically more level than it is with like a West Coast, where a West Coast would be more bitter and more dry. These tend to be more towards the center of each other. And I think that, just like West Coast IPAs that are really bitter and really dry can be taxing, these beers like this that are more balanced can also be taxing, because it becomes samesies after a while, and you just want something to shock your palate, and you might move on to something else that's more interesting. I don't want to say interesting.
No, I can see where
more refined,
engaging, maybe
engaging. That's a good word.
Yeah, because it's very forgettable. Is what I'm.
That's a good point. Like, out of all these beers, except for Forever Ever, so the last two we've had, would you ever go, oh, I could go for that beer again? No, because they're kind of the same thing, Well,
I mean, to be fair, again, as I razzed other half that all these beers would be the same, they are actually pretty distinct.
In very small ways, though.
Well, I think the O Dream really went into that desserty zone. I think the Forever Ever really was just a hop forward IPA, and this is honestly in my head is kind of how I picture other half IPA.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah,
it's good. It's a good beer. It's not like I regret having it. It's not like I'm not going to finish it. But it's not like it doesn't leave me with anything where I'm going to go back and be like, fuck, I got to have another one of those. That thing ruled. It's just like, it was fine. It's kind of sweet.
I will definitely finish these beers. Like I said, I think I don't know if I said it on the show or pre-show. Like I drank, like we got 2 of each, and I drank, the first 4 last week, and I didn't really pay attention to them as I was drinking them because I was doing other things. And where I really focus on beers is on this show because that's what we're supposed to do. And
it's our job.
yeah, even now it's just like, yeah, it's concentrating on these beers. They're still kind of hitting the same way they hit me last week, where I drank it, I enjoyed it, I had nothing bad to say, but I'm gonna move on and drink something else. So I don't want it to make it sound like we're dumping on other half. Like these are excellent beers, but what we're doing here is critiquing the beers and giving you our opinion on the beers, and it is what it is. It's other half. It's what I expected in a good way, though, but also in a bad way. I don't know. What if other half just did like a straight up dank ass West Coast super dry, like, and just maybe they have and we haven't had it. I don't know.
Yeah, I bet they'd kill it.
Like just a shock to the fucking system, like for their like
it would be great
fanboys.
when it would just sit on the shelf in their brewery for like 2 months. It'd be like a bunch of fucking nerds like us would come in and be like, bro, best beer you guys have ever made. They're like, thanks. Yeah, like you and 4 other guys really think that. And then
yeah.
And then there's a line of 300 dudes not buying that beer so they can get the new Hazy Boy.
Yeah.
Well, do we have one more? Yes, right as you take a big drink.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm teeing you up, John. Go ahead. Keep talking. Go.
I'm out of glasses. Yeah, we've got one more left. This is the next one up is their double dry hopped Galaxy Plus Strata. This is 8.5%. And they give you descriptions of guava and tangerine and passion fruit and blah, blah, blah. And we typically don't read those things. This has a 4.23 on Untapped. So again, put it in perspective for the folks that are drinking this beer right now. But 4.23 is pretty high.
That's yeah. Anything over a 4 on Untapped is like home run pretty much. And let me see, is there any notes on this besides that it has Galaxy and Strata hops? No.
Big fluffy white head. That looks nice. Wow.
Yeah, this one is definitely got a nice like creamy fluffy white head for sure.
This smells.
The aroma's back on this.
Yeah.
Beer. Sorry, I cut you off.
It's okay. This smells more like a fruity IPA with that white cake batter thing. This, I think, smells more traditionally like other half would make.
Yeah, it definitely has more of a tropical hop note is what I'm getting.
It's like cleaner and not as abrasive, I guess, on the aroma.
It does still have that haziness where the edges have been sanded off, right? Like the edge notes in these hops have been sanded off. Galaxy and Strata are probably 2 of the best IPA hops that you could use.
Yeah.
And it has a good aroma. It has a really nice aroma. The last 2, I felt like the aroma was not where I wanted it to be, but this one smells great. But again, hazy sands the edges off that aroma.
This is like if you had a baseball bat if you had 2 baseball bats, one is a square block and one's an actual baseball bat. This is the baseball bat. It's round. it's perfectly balanced. It's a great bat. Where you could also hit a ball with a bat that's square, but it's not a real baseball bat. I don't know that.
You're
that
really weird. Are you wearing
it.
your Dodgers hat? Is that why you're leaning in on the baseball analogy today?
I am. Yes. I'm just saying. I was trying to find a good way to express how round it is. Like it's. I think this is like the ultimate other half beer. Like this is what they do best. I think.
Let's actually taste it. So I'm getting like a diesel note on this one. It is the highest alcohol by quite a bit. It's 8.5. Although the last one was 7.9, and this one's got a lot more booze on it.
Yeah, like you can taste the alcohol in this.
Yeah, like diesely, super diesely.
Ooh, that's actually not that great. Oh God. Wow.
The aftertaste is okay. The hop flavor that kind of lingers on your palate, I don't hate, but there's a lot of booze in that. It's like a spirit, you know? And for an 8.5 is high, but like not like we've had lots of beers that are 8.5 and beyond. This is not unfamiliar territory for us, you know, and that's kind of it's a little gnar.
On first sip, it's pretty offensive, I'd say. Like it's more bitter than I thought it would be when I smelled it. It's boozy. It's a little I don't know, minerally, I guess.
Yeah, I get a little bit of that.
And it lingers. That bitterness lingers, which I guess I kind of appreciate, but that mineral flavor also lingers too. And that makes it not pleasant. Like, this is not what I expected.
Not chalky, because it's not dry. But it does have like, yeah, that minerality kind of hangs around on your palate. And I feel like there's a bunch of other weirdness going on that really isn't helping the hop character shine through, which is what we should be getting in a beer that is double dry hopped, hop and hop. You know, like
right.
This should be a hop showcase, and it doesn't feel like a hop showcase.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really experience the flavors of the hops. You experience like more the maltiness from the beer, and it's a malty beer too. Not like you're not experiencing the malt bill. It's malty. Like it comes off malty to me. Like this is the worst one I think of the bunch. Again, whatever.
This is the one I had tried before, and I was like, I tried it a couple nights ago, and I was like, I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, that sucks because it's Galaxy and Strata hops are like.
Yeah, I mean, again, it sucks that we came out the gate with what is easily the best beer. Like, I would say a full point better than everything else in this bunch.
Yeah.
The Forever Ever is so good. And this beer is just kind of does everything the opposite almost. Like,
so I'm looking at Untapped and they say you get guava, tangerine, and passion fruit. I don't get any guava from this. And I'm pretty sensitive to guava because I dislike it in beers and I've grown accustomed to it. Like I wouldn't want to put guava in anything I brewed, but if I drink a beer with guava, I can appreciate it because it just stands out to me. And for me, I don't get any guava notes. Like maybe the tangerine, the tangerine I think would be the biggest one because it's like a citrusy kind of vibe I get from it. Passion fruit a little bit too, I guess, but guava, like I get no guava stank off of it. Not that there should be stank. There should be, subtle elements.
Guava's got
guava.
That funk. Yeah.
Yeah. And I get none of that. But what stands out the most is that minerality and the bitterness.
I feel like on the nose, I can see what they're trying to do, but like something fell apart in the beer itself. When you drink it, it just doesn't come through that way. And for curiosity, these beers aren't that old. They're about 5 weeks from bottling or from canning. So the oldest beer is early October. The other ones are mid October. We're recording now in November 21st. So these aren't old. And yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like something happened. Like there's a better version of this beer somewhere.
I'm not getting old, quote unquote, qualities from the beer. This is how the beer tastes. And I think on day one, if you would have had this beer on tap after it was put in the bright tank and, whatever the process they go through and they serve it, you'd get the same characteristics from it. I think the 4.23 on Untapped is a little bit hype, or I'm an old man at this point. You get the bitterness from it. You get a little bit of the fruit character on the flavor, that white, the white cake batter character, but it just doesn't mesh well, and that's what's conflicting to me. It's not cohesive, and it's kind of a bummer to end the show on this beer. But yeah, the Forever Ever other half, make more of that. Like, send that out to the West Coast. I'll buy the shit out of it. It's really good.
Forever Ever would be like a fridge constant if I could get it all the time. That is a great beer.
And obviously there's an audience for everything they do. I mean, Untapped ratings don't lie. I'm sure they're a bit skewed, but these beers were all good for what they were. It all comes down to personal
maybe not
taste.
The last one. Honestly, I feel like that they missed something. If you're going for hop forward hazy IPA, again, like that alcohol heat, that dieseliness, that can't be the intended flavor. I don't think it is.
Okay. Well,
just the show ends and we're done. And we're done. No, overall, I think some pretty well-made beers from Other Half. I think was it Greg that was trying to start that we name our favorite? We very clearly had a favorite in this bunch.
Yeah, the beers do the same thing, although they actually rank them in a certain way. And the only reason I brought them up is because when Greg brought that up, I thought of them. So, I mean, it's not like ranking beers is exclusive to them, but if anyone, sees a similarity, just we acknowledged it. Definitely Forever Ever was the best beer.
I would say, weirdly though, if we did have to rank all four, if we were the beerists and we ranked all four, I would put Oh Dream as probably number 2.
Yep, definitely. Even though, like, when we went into it, it was like, oh, this is more desserty than I thought it would be. Maybe we should save this for the end. And no, the Galaxy Strata, like, definitely should have stayed at the end because it's kind of a palate wrecker. You know what I mean?
You know what? No, trying them again. I think True Green is probably edging out Oh Dream for me, but the Galaxy Strata, which on paper is gonna be my favorite, is easily the bottom. Like, it's the worst by a lot.
I would agree. And again, this isn't a slight on Other Half, but we're being super critical. And,
you're so apologetic. We can just review beers, okay, John?
I'm not apologizing. Like,
Other Half's not gonna fight you.
They might.
I mean, they might.
No way,
man.
I don't want to make them upset.
You've said mean stuff to all sorts of beer people. And no one's ever fought you.
Well, I have, and then I've also apologized at the end of the day too. And I just don't want to be that guy anymore. So I'm trying to be a better person, Jason.
Look, we can't review beers without saying sometimes they're not good. Otherwise, we'd just be like, beer's good. Brewer says, yep.
Okay. Yes. Galaxy plus Strata is not good. There, I'm taking a stand.
Yeah, it's not. It is not a successful beer.
The 4.23 on Untapped is unwarranted and it's false.
I'd be really curious to see what they were going for. Because I don't know. I don't think whatever it is, I don't think they hit it.
Yeah. Well, you can't win them all.
But if you see Forever Ever, buy it. Forever Ever.
All right. I guess we can stop recording.
All right. So Leninade had a question.
Explain our shirts.
I'm actually not 100% what yours is.
Mine is the band. Hold on. Let me.
I assumed it was a band, but I don't know that band.
Hold on. Mine is the band Sharptooth. They're what are they? Kind of hardcore-ish, like metalcore-ish. They have a female singer.
That's fun.
She's really good. Like she can scream her ass off. Well, they're not on AF Records. They're on Pure Noise, I believe, Records, which is also a label that Anti-Flag works with. I found out about them because Justin Sane from Anti-Flag did a guest vocal on their latest album, and I listened to it, and it was good.
Dude, that Liquid Death album was pretty fucking decent.
For what it is, yeah. That was. If you don't know what we're talking about, the water brand Liquid Death, they have the cans that say Liquid Death, and it's like a skull melting or dripping, whatever.
They're like death metal water.
It's just water from the Alps, I guess. But they put out this is their second album where they put out basically songs that were inspired by bad reviews of their product. And this time around they got Chris #2 from Anti-Flag, the singer from the Lawrence Arms, I can't remember her name, the singer from the Bomb Pops, is that the name of the band? I don't listen to them that much. And someone else. There was a fourth person, but they basically
they had the Scottoons guy on a song, which I thought was awesome.
Oh, they had the dude from Against Me on a song. They had Dan from Alkaline Trio play a solo on a song.
I like Dan Andriano, and I like Dan Andriano a lot.
Yeah,
he's underrated.
It's a really cool album with like a core band that they basically hired to write songs for these bad reviews that got turned into lyrics for the album. But they also have guest appearances from other people that are in the punk rock scene. And yeah, I tweeted about that album, and that's when Chris #2 from Anti-Flag started following me. Like, because
nice.
I talk about them a lot on Twitter and like Instagram, and I think he was like, "All right, I'll follow this dude. Cool." So now Justin and Chris follow me. I just got to get Chris #1 and Pat to follow me, and I'll be in like social media heaven.
I don't know if anybody cool legitimately follows me. Like, I think there's like celebrities that like just follow everybody, but I
think what happened with me was, for some reason, I tweeted about the new the latest Propaganda album when it came out, and it's all I listened to when I was like really heavily into losing weight and running. And then Propaganda followed me, which I was like, whoa, that's weird. Like, what the fuck do they care what I have to say? Like, I'm a beer drinker on Twitter, but they followed me. And then shortly after that, Justin from Anti-Flag followed me. And then Sharptooth followed me after I tweeted about them with Justin. And I was just saying like, yo, this band's great. I like this. This is right up my alley. And then, I think, like I said, Chris, after I talked about the Liquid Death album, he followed me. But on Twitter, on Instagram, like I was like, Chris has like a hockey thing he is involved in. Hockey is diversity, and oh god, I wear the shirt all the time. Hate over skate. That's his other thing that he does. And because Chris is big into hockey, and I would, I'd post about that and whatever. And so it's just weird, like seeing these people that are celebrities to me actually pay attention and
people,
then follow me. It's not like they're following me to get me to follow them, because I've been following them for a long time. And like Chris has he follows 900 people. I follow 750 people. Like that's an average number of people to follow on Twitter. But if
it feels high to me, but yeah.
Well, like 14,000. If you follow 14,000 people, that's really fucking high, and that's suspicious.
you just follow everybody, yeah.
Like Zane,
I follow
Lamprey
like 367. I remember getting followed by Zane Lamprey and being like, "Oh man, like he's like a beer industry person. That's neat." And then looking, and he followed like 15,000 people. I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah." It's just a bot.
He followed
just
like
a fucking
in
bot.
New Brew Thursday. He did the same thing, and it was like, this is just him trying to recruit followers. That's all. He'll unfollow us.
Yeah. But, my shirt is a mashup of Earthworm Jim and the Terminator. Hard to see the microphone. The Worminator.
I can see it. Yeah, the Worminator.
says, "I'll be groovy." And that's it. It's just, hey, remember 2 things that you like put together in a thing. I bought it. I went through a kick for a couple of years where I was just buying lots of T-shirts from sites that are like, if we take 2 popular intellectual properties and combined them, then we probably won't get shut down. And I mean, they still haven't, so it seems like it works. Well, I think we're about done. Hope Tim didn't die.
No, he sent me a text. And
okay.
Yeah, he's alive.
good to see he made it.
Just to follow up on the band Sharptooth, Wikipedia calls them an American hardcore punk band from Baltimore, Maryland. And yeah. Check them out.
I would say play them on the stream, but apparently
no.
Twitch is really cracking down on that shit lately.
No. I mean, I could play like a snippet, but yeah.
Apparently, like DMCA takedowns on Twitch have been like a real problem lately.
They sent an apology letter out to all of their creators and partners.
Yeah, but they didn't actually do anything about it. They're like,
no.
going forward, make sure you don't play any recorded music. Okay, cool, thanks.
It's just so stupid because, like,
you know what the number 1 channel I watch on Twitch is? A DJ.
Yeah, exactly. And
so what their
happens
advice
when you
to
listen
him
to
is
his music, you tend to like it, and then you go seek it out and either stream it or pay for it.
And their advice to him is, to avoid, us taking your channel away, just don't play any music on your stream. They have a music section.
Yeah. I know.
Fucking Twitch. Bitching about Twitch is what people on Twitch like. Nobody's watching. We got 2 viewers right now.
Welcome to Bitching About Twitch with Jason and John.
That's right. 2 viewers, and they're me and John.
All right, y'all. Thanks for hanging out, and we will see you guys next week when I think all 4 of us will actually be here. Maybe it's Thanksgiving weekend, so maybe not. You never know. But thanks for hanging out.
Cheese, bro.